Vantrue N2 Pro review. We're willing to overlook the fact that the Vantrue N1 Pro isn't a pretty camera because most of the world's best cameras aren't pretty either. Instead, we want to focus on the camera's features, functions, and capabilities. A decent dash camera for taxis and ride-sharing services, which records both forward and backward through the windscreen, plus inside the vehicle. The front-facing cameras max out at recording at 2.5K, but you can get up to 4K if you're willing to sacrifice some quality. It's limited by the fact that you can't use both cameras simultaneously. If you want better quality, you need to disable the rear camera. You can shoot video at 1080p and 30 frames per second, 30 FPS, in one direction, or 720p and 60 FPS in both. The front-facing camera has an infrared sensor that helps create a clear image of the driver and passengers during nighttime driving. It can also rotate 45 degrees up or down to ensure that the driver always sees the road ahead. Included in the box is a suction cup, which is good for those who don't want an adhesive sticker permanently attached to their windshield. This fits onto a bracket mounted on the top of the dashboard camera, which then locks into position. It isn't the most stylish mounting system we've seen, but it does its job. The mount has its own USB port, so if you want to power the dash cam via this port, you can connect it there without having to run an additional wire through the windshield. Plugged into the mount, the USB connector is not visible. It's important to consider where you want to place your dashboard camera. If you have a large windshield, you may need to move it further away from the windscreen so that it doesn't block your vision. However, if you don't mind having a smaller windshield, then you can keep your camera closer to the front of the vehicle. You get a USB power supply, an AC-DC converter, and a microSD card reader in the package. Most dash cameras don't use a smartphone app for their dash cams because they're not interested in adding accurate time and place information to videos recorded from their cars. We wonder whether some drivers might be happy to trade off an app for having a camera that doesn't need one. With no account creation or personal data collection required, the camera is entirely self-contained. And crucially, there's no account creation process and not even any personal data submitted to Vantrue. Just insert a memory stick, plug the camera in and start shooting. Even though that might appeal to some buyers, having to remove the memory card every time you want to use it is annoying. However, we're not sure if it's a deal-breaking flaw. Strangely enough, the button placement seems odd, since they put the scroll buttons on the bottom and the OK/select button on the top. We don't know why either. It's easy to navigate the system, but don't get fooled into thinking that it will work without buying the $100 windshield mount from Vantrue. We were pleasantly impressed by the video quality at Vantrue. Both cameras produce high-quality footage, which is sharp, clear, and smooth, even when shooting outdoors in bright light. However, there are times when the interior camera occasionally has trouble capturing some important details, like license plate numbers and road signs, due to its tendency to wash out. Audio recording is also pretty good, and most people who buy dash cams will probably turn this feature off for privacy reasons. Taxi drivers might be interested in having decent audio recordings if they ever need to prove their point against passengers who misbehave.